So in this video, what we're going to try and do is buy a used Golf for 5% of the value of a brand new Golf. Now, it's not just to buy it for the purchase price, that's to buy it, make sure it's road legal, taxed, everything, for 5% of the cost of a brand new car. And right this second, as we start the video, we've got 4 minutes left on an eBay auction. I've been following this car for a few days. I've put in a maximum bid. At the minute, we're all good. We're the winning bidder. But, you know, this is the very end of it. Now, it's a bit of a nervy way to film this, because if I mess things up on this take, the whole thing's ruined. So I'm really hoping that I can just get all this done. So if I forget something, forgive me, I will try and cover it in the video. But the plan with the video is, I'm going to be with you here. We're going to hopefully win the auction of the car. I'm then going to run it for 4-5 months, is my plan. And then come back to you. It'll all be in one video, so you're not going to have to wait 4 or 5 months from now. We'll just come back, and I'll tell you how we've been able to do it. Now, I'll give you the details of the cars first. So I went on Volkswagen's website. I'll show you a screenshot. You can mark a mid-specification Volkswagen Golf for £30,000. So that's a 1.5 TSI, not the most powerful one, mid-level specification, and the only option I picked for it was metallic black. And that was just because the car that I found is metallic black. So I thought, well, that's a fair comparison then. And maybe it helps with residuals, I don't know. But the plan here, sorry for the pause, someone did just put in a bid, but we're still okay, we're still the winning bidder. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just cut here, jump forward 2 minutes, and let us get really close to the end of this auction. So I'll be back with you in just a second. Okay, we're still bidding. Sorry, I was a little bit nervous there because I thought someone was bidding me up, but they bid me up to £870. I've put in a maximum bid of £1,000 because the idea for me is, if it's £30,000 to buy one brand new, let's say 1.5 TSI in black, I've managed to find a 1.6 Sport in black. The only difference really between them, apart from the age, is this is a 3-door. To be honest, I actually would prefer a 3-door, but you can't buy the brand new Golfs in 3-door, so it has to be a 5-door. So, you know, each their own. To be honest, if you were looking, you would probably find loads of 5 doors. Just being tall, it's easy for me getting in and out of a car. I just prefer a 3-door. I think they look a bit better as well. But anyway, we've got 1 minute left. Now this car, it's a 1.6. It's done 108,000 miles. It's on a 55 plate, which means late 2005. It's June at the moment, so it's not quite 18 years old. But by the time I come back to you, hopefully after we've won this auction and I've run it for a few months, then it will be 18 years old. We are 890 at the minute. 45 seconds left. I'm really hoping one of the lights behind me or something doesn't fail, because that would really mess things up here. Okay, I've just upped my bid slightly. I wanted to go, just in case someone else had the same idea, £1,040. 20 seconds left, by the way. The way I'm looking at it is that if I can run it for the next 4.5 months, after 4.5 months, I will be quids in because of the lease plan. So we've got 10 seconds. Sorry, give me a second. 950, someone's bid it to. 975, 980. Okay. That hasn't gone to plan. You guys will probably never see this. You'll probably never see this video. Okay, I'm going to have a look for a different Golf and shoot this all over again. And I'll bet you're wondering why I've come straight back to you. That Golf that I bid on, the person who had put it up for sale, so they was just a couple of details. Basically, their son had been driving it. They've been doing long distance. Their son now works abroad. They've tried to sell it twice. They've put no messing around. Please contact within 1 hour of the auction end. It's been 2 hours, and they've sent me a message saying basically the person who's won it hasn't contacted them. But I'll just go into a couple more details just in case they message me back while I film this. What I'm thinking is, if I can own it and drive it, I'll try and drive it as much as I can, as use it at every opportunity. If I can own and drive it for 4.5 months, then after 4.5 months, the amount that you would have paid in your finance or your lease payment will be the same as I would have paid up front. So every day after that, it's essentially a free car. I'm going to cut it there because they haven't got back to me. I will let you know if this is the one I've got. Otherwise, well, you probably won't see this bit of the video either because I'd have found a different car. But assuming we've got it, then I'll come back to you as soon as they let me know. Okay, so a quick good morning from me. It's been 2 days since I last recorded. The people that I had bought the car from, or had been the second highest bidder to, they were getting messed around a little bit more by the person that was the top bidder, who then said, who did message them back and said, I want to see the car, blah, blah, blah. Messed them around for the last 2 days. I messaged the seller this morning just to say, look, understand if you want to hold out for the other person. They're trying to be decent with them, but obviously I need to buy a car. So, if you want to hold on with them, that's fine. But, I'm going to take myself out of the race. They said, look, if you can come and get the car today, it's yours. So I've booked myself on a train. I've got about 3-hour journey-ish ahead of me. Sorry the studio isn't sort of set up as it usually is, but this is just a quick update. Hopefully, by the end of today, I should have the car, and then I'm going to come back to you in a few months' time and let you know how I got on. If I can get it on my watch. Can I get it on my watch? 17th of November is where we are. So I've owned it for 5 months. This is how it looks. And I've used it pretty constantly, but I'll tell you what, I'll jump in. Okay, so every man, his dog, and his dog's goldfish has driven a Golf, so I'm not going to bore you with a long drawn out review of the car. I'm sure you've watched Mark V Golf reviews before, or you've either driven them yourself or heard about them. But I am going to go through some pros and cons of owning the car so far. Pro, fuel economy, 38.4 miles per gallon. That's off the trip in front of me. I've just clicked onto it now. At the minute it's doing 32. That's since I started. But since I owned it, in the 5 months I've been driving it around, and that's everything from little trips to the shops to long drives up the motorway. 38.4. Yeah, a diesel would do better. Yeah, a modern TSI engine would probably also sort of get maybe mid-40s. But 38, I can't complain about that at all. Then we've got the way it drives. Now, it's 18 years old. I've driven some 10-year-old cars when I worked in the trade that you'd think a load of ramblers have been using as a hideout between, I don't know, taking pictures of birds or whatever they fancy doing in the countryside. This really doesn't play into that. Someone's kept this car. Okay, it's only got 109,000 miles on it now. I bought it, I think when I did the video, I said it had 108, but it didn't. It had 103, I think, when I bought it. So it's done 5,000 miles a month. The interesting thing I find in this generation of vehicle, you do still have to drive them. They don't have all these modern aids that will nudge you into your lane if you drift off or anything like that. You drive, and if you make an error, then you pay for it. And sometimes there is a case where you get a wrong gear or something, or I had it the other day with a person in front of me who was a bit of a nervous driver, and they kept braking very hard and then booting it away, and they could because they had a more powerful car than me, and I was sort of there behind trying to get back up to speed of the road. I don't know quite why they were so nervous, but they were. That's their day. That's fine. It is what it is. But for me, keeping up with them, it was a little bit more strenuous. But actually, as long as you know how to drive, as long as you can get behind the wheel of a motor car and actually drive, you'll be fine. If you want to try and play on your phone most of the time, which you shouldn't be doing, but if you're distracted, and a lot of, I think, modern cars maybe nudge you that way to just be bored behind the wheel, this won't do that. You've got to be alert. You've got to just drive it, and actually it makes it feel a little bit more rewarding. Cons, I say, yeah, it looks its age, especially with the dents. It could probably do with more money spending on it if you wanted to make it perfect. If I really wanted to get the handling sharpened up, that would be another few £100. And again, if you're not going to do the jobs yourself, which I guess quite a lot of people won't, then there is that element of the bills start to stack up. When I had to do so the one thing I did have to do, and I'll cover this when I do the costs, was change the rear dampers or rear shock absorbers, whatever you want to call them. It's a job I was confident to do myself, and because of that, it was a fairly cheap job. But I would understand for some people, if you're not confident in doing car repair yourself, that may have been a couple of hours, maybe a bit more at a workshop, and that would obviously added to the bill quite a bit. A quick car, no. And if you wanted a car that, some people want cars that are, they don't want a fast car, but they want a quick car. No, it's not that either. But it's quick enough, does the job, but you'd be fooling yourself to be buying this and thinking, oh, well, I'll be able to, overtake whenever you want. No, you won't. And there's been a situation I was in where I was driving this car back late at night, and I got diverted, sent down a load of country lanes that I didn't know. And there is this little bit of, when you're going down weaving country lanes that you don't know, in modern cars, you can wipe off a bit of speed, get to the corner, and then pick up your speed straight away on the way out. In this, not so much. You do have to think a little bit ahead, because if you wipe speed off, it's going to take that little bit more to put the speed back on. Other negatives, yeah, I suppose it doesn't have the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto of a modern car, that tech. That would be nice to have, just to be able to get in. I've got one of these little phone holders and a Bluetooth adapter, which it does the job. It's not as good as a brand new Volkswagen, which will just Bluetooth your phone in, start playing your audio or your podcast or whatever else. The Miles Driven podcast, I hope. If you're watching this, then maybe you're listening to the podcast as well. But it's not doing anything like that. It's not got those little tech features which would be nice to have. Okay, we're going to pull in here. Let's do the numbers, I think, shall we? Let's see if I actually managed to get numbers to what we wanted. So, right, let me get the notepad out and let's see if I've managed to do it. So, right, okay, so figures. Car was £1,000, which we knew, we did that already. So £1,000 for the car. Tax for the year, £320. It's the biggest bill of all of them, but isn't that life? So £1,000 for the car, £320 for tax, £72 for the rear dampers. I fitted them myself, so that's just the parts cost. So if you were doing this yourself and you had to have someone who would be fitting them for you, take that into account, that you'd have to add labour on top. But the parts themselves, it was £72 for the pair. An MOT, £45.50. Not too bad. It failed its MOT, but it only failed its MOT on one thing, which was the indicator on the wing mirror. The actual indicator lens was broken. So went back home, had 10 days to go back and get a free retest. £6.50. Not bad. £6.50 for a new one of those. It was like 4 screws. So you pop the cap off, couple of screws underneath, couple of screws around the side. New part and passed. No problem. £17 for a headlight restoration kit. This is one of these ones, you can buy them from any auto store, but yeah, when I picked this car up, I realised that the beam was all over the place, the beam pattern, and it had a really poor set of light. Now, it was summer when I picked it up, as you know, so it wasn't such a big deal, but then I think it was about late August, so after I think it was just before it had its MOT, I thought, maybe they'll fail it on MOT, so let me just buy a kit, use the drill, and to be honest, they came up quite nicely actually. Well, they don't look perfect, but for £17 I'm not complaining. Tyre, now I did mention this previously, had 3 Goodyear, like Goodyear tyres, like they were all about 6mm all round, like one of their eco sets, and then one really old Pirelli tyre that was well past its date. So replace that one tyre. Fortunately, I think I mentioned this months and months ago. If I didn't, then I'll tell you now that on the previous MOT they had one of the tyres changed, so, and they'd had it done with a Goodyear, so 3 of them matched, but they didn't bother with the other one because it passed the MOT on that one. So I just got a Goodyear tyre for that, and now it's got 4 matching tyres. So, but because of that, the point I'm making is it's got one brand new, but the other one had only done 2,000 miles, so essentially across the axle brand new. But my final figure, £1,537.50. So no, I didn't quite do it, but for the sake of £37.50, I'm gonna say that's a win. I'm gonna take that, and I'm gonna say, I mean, it's been 5 months. Every day that I'm driving it now, it's essentially free. It's going on and carrying on nice. I say essentially free compared to if I had bought a brand new one, or if you're thinking of doing so. So £1,537.50. It'd be a bit higher, obviously, if I'd had to have someone fit the rear dampers. I hope you've liked this video. I hope it's in some way been either educational if you're thinking about doing this, or at least you've enjoyed it. Do subscribe to the channel and join the Miles Driven community if you have, and I will catch you in the next video.